ever had your faith shaken so deeply you weren't sure if it could survive? I have. And when I lost my only son, Logan, my faith wasn't just tested, it was stripped bare. I found myself asking questions I never thought I would. Where are you, God? How could you let this happen? Are you even listening to me? If you've ever felt like your faith was crumbling under the weight of grief, you're not alone. There are moments in life that divide everything into before and after. And for me, it was the moment I got the message from Logan. My world shattered in an instant. The air left my lungs. The ground beneath me felt like it completely disappeared. In those first hours and days, I was disoriented, like I was stumbling through a fog I couldn't see out of. And in that fog, I began to question everything I thought I knew about God. I had believed He was good. I had believed He was a protector. I had believed He answered prayers. But at that moment, none of it made sense. And maybe you felt that way too. That deep ache of betrayal, like God had turned His back when you needed Him the most. The wilderness of grief is lonely. I remember laying awake at night, staring at the ceiling and asking, why Logan? Why now? Why my family? I was angry at God and I was disappointed in Him. And I felt ashamed for even feeling that way. Because somewhere deep down, I thought good Christians weren't supposed to doubt. We weren't supposed to be angry at God. But the truth? The Bible is full of people who cried out in pain, who wrestled with God in their sorrow. And in my wilderness, I learned something important. God isn't afraid of our questions. He isn't threatened by our anger. He can handle the full weight of our grief. Even in the wilderness, even in the silence, God began to show up for me. Not in the ways I expected, and not with sudden miracles or loud answers, but in whispers. A verse I had read 100 times suddenly cut through the fog. A song would come on the radio that spoke directly to my breaking heart. A stranger's words would comfort me in ways they never could have planned on their own. These weren't coincidences. They were brushstrokes of God's presence in my darkness. And slowly I began to realize I wasn't walking through this valley alone. And here's what grief taught me about faith. Faith isn't about having all the answers. It's not about living without doubt. Faith is trust, especially when nothing makes sense. Job said in Job 23:10, "But He knows the way that I take. When He has tested me, I will come forth as gold." That verse hit me differently after Logan's death because it didn't promise I would understand everything. It promised that God would bring me through it refined. Grief forced me to let go of the faith that demanded explanations and cling to the faith that simply trusted God was still holding me, even when I couldn't feel it. I wouldn't pretend this was easy because it hasn't been. There were days I didn't want to pray, days I didn't want to get out of bed, days I wanted to give up on God entirely. But in those moments, I held on to one truth. God's presence is not dependent on my feelings. He was with Logan. He was with me. And He's with you too. My faith today looks a whole lot different than it did before. It's softer, quieter and stronger. It's no longer built on having everything explained. It's built on trusting God in the mystery. So if your faith feels broken right now, let me remind you, broken faith is still faith. And God can meet you in the cracks. If you're in a season where your faith feels tested by grief, I want to invite you to share your story in the comments below. Share the questions that you've wrestled with. Tell us the moments when God showed up for you in small, surprising ways. Or if you can't see him right now, that's okay too. Just say, I'm struggling, and let this community carry you in prayer. Faith tested in the fire doesn't come out weaker. It comes out refined. You may feel like you're breaking apart, but I believe God is holding every piece of you, even the ones you can't hold yourself. And one day, you'll look back and realize God never left. I'm Angela Frazier, a mother whose faith was tested in the fire and refined by the hand of God. If your heart is trembling under loss, you may feel his quiet strength holding you even now. And follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more faith-filled content, stories of hope, and Logan's legacy. And get your free devotional journal, Beauty in the Valley, inspired by Logan's journey, at the link below. With love always, Angela and Logan.